So Tenebrae,
Yes.
this is the edition I have. Ooh.
I got the Arrow.
This is the Synapse version, and they did a version of Suspiria that I have.
I've been thinking of getting that Suspiria version because it's such a beautiful film, and I kind of want the 4K.
So I guess I'll just start by saying you kind of introduced me to Dario Argento on your film shoot. I think Ricardo had bought Suspiria.
Yeah.
And we watched it. And that was the first time I ever watched an Argento film.
Yeah, I mean, Suspiria is still my favorite. I love that movie. It grew on me a lot. Like the first time I watched it, I was like,
I think that if I recall, you used the Suspiria theme for like some of your inspiration for Halloween Party score.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. I mean, like I can read my version, but it's going to be different than yours.
Is it? Mine's in Italian, so.
Yours in Italian?
No, I'm just kidding.
All right, I'll read the back of the Arrow cover.
Okay.
Terror beyond belief. In the early 1980s, Dario Argento, Deep Red, the bird with the crystal plumage, Italy's legendary master of horror, returned to the giallo thriller genre in which he originally made his name for his most blood-drenched and self-reflective offering to date, Tenebrae. A razor-wielding psychopath is stalking the thriller writer Peter Neal. Anthony Francia's Death Wish 2 in Rome to promote his latest work, Tenebrae. But the author isn't the obsessive killer's only target. The beautiful women who surround him are doomed, as one by one they fall victim to the murderer's slashing blade. Co-starring Daria Nicola di Phenomena and John Saxon in Nightmare on Elm Street, and featuring stark modernistic photography by Luciano Tovoli, Suspiria. This one-time video nasty updates the giallo blueprint for a new decade, now fully restored in 4K alongside a plethora of extras, old and new, and including for the first time ever the alternate US cut, Unsane. I watched the English version, but
the original version. The original version with English dubbing was what I watched.
Yes, that's what I watched too. Okay. So we actually watched the same version, even though we didn't plan that.
Yeah, because mine comes with the same 3 versions.
Okay, cool. I wanted the booklet, honestly. Like, that was my big thing, is I wanted the booklet that came with it. Oh, did yours come with a booklet too? Okay, well, I still got the Arrow one. It was $5 cheaper. I don't regret it.
Is it the same kind of thing? Probably.
Yeah, it's even got the yellow things on the edge.
Yep. Okay. Mine has lobby cards.
Mine also has lobby cards. Let me find those.
That I haven't opened.
Mine were not sealed, so I went through them once when I got it.
Looks like the same-ish.
Yeah. Pretty similar. Oh, yeah, this one's an ad for Wild Things.
And then on the back. Oh, different.
Yeah. That's a weird one for yours. Mine's just the Arrow cover.
Yeah, this is the alternate. It's called Shadow, I guess.
Oh, yeah. Well, it means darkness in Italian, so that makes sense.
Yeah, Japanese Shadow.
My version matches my other Argento ones, so...
Winner! Yeah, this movie, I've seen it twice now. The second time was for this show.
Mm-hmm.
Recent discovery this year for me. I watched part of it on Joe Bob Briggs on Shudder. He did it. He had it one of the nights. And then I was like, okay, seen enough. Love it. Love the opening with the fireplace. And again, fire is so cinematic. The whole thing, the whole mood, the whole like Argento's momentum, the way he does the cameras and all that. I was like, I was sold. So I was like, I'm going to wait for the 4K. Pop the 4K in. Movie was great. The whole like mystery aspect, the whole slasher, giallo.
Mm-hmm.
The music was fantastic. I mean, and I think the actresses look great. I mean, they're very. I don't want to say sleazy, but it's just kind of it has this like its own vibe. Like it's very I don't know. I guess Italian. I guess giallo. But
I've when we were coming out of the Beyond, I was telling Vinny and Ian about like the giallo genre as a whole, and I'm like, it's kind of a spectrum of like Mario Bava is like pretty classy, Dario Argento is like not as classy, it's more dirty, and then Lucio Fulci is really dirty. I stand by that.
Great. That's a great tier system you got there. But yeah, I was sold, and I really enjoyed it the first time. The second time, I have to say, I didn't enjoy it as much because I knew what was going to happen. Still had a great time.
I had forgotten about the ending, so I was like, oh shit, like this is kind of a surprise again. I was surprised also, like putting it on, it doesn't look like the other giallo films. Like it doesn't have the stylized coloring. It just seems to be set in like a modern, well, the then modern Rome. And there's more murders for sure, but they don't spend as long on the murders as they do in previous giallos. So I thought that was interesting. It's an interesting movie.
It is. It really is. I mean, the fact that this doctor, or the author of Tenebrae in the movie, rides his bike to the airport, puts his bike in a taxi, and is like, and exchanges for his luggage and gets on the airplane. It's like, I don't know. It just seemed kind of strange to me that this guy would ride his bike to the airport and then, like, he got his workout in, then he's not going to go on a plane. It's kind of smart. I just thought it was kind of a quirky thing. There's a couple of times, a couple other sequences too, like the dog. The dog is like chasing this woman and jumping fences, and man, I love the sequence. But it's like it's in its own little genre or sort of tone. It's like wow, this is just wild. This is like, at one point I'm like, what am I watching? Is the dog behind all of this, or is it just it's I feel like it's a sequence. It was pretty crazy.
Like the dog like chases her into the like murder room, and you're like, how did the murderer know this dog was gonna show up and like chase her here?
And I know how hard it is to get a dog to cooperate on set. I'm sure they had more than one, but some of the things that the dog is doing are just like, wow. Like, I think the dog tries to jump the fence and it actually misses the first time, and then does it the second time.
Yeah.
I was just like, man, this is crazy. Like the whole like, the dog acting, the stunt work in this,
and like it just like goes like right up and then it goes over. Like it just like, it's not even like it like, you know, like it goes like.
Right on cue. How did you find this movie?
I don't totally remember. I definitely watched it on Shudder to begin with. But I was like, I again had a Dario Argento phase, much like a John Carpenter phase. And so I was like kind of going through all of his movies. There's still some I haven't seen just because Dario Argento's later work is, that's a slog to get through. So like some of those I'm just like, nah, I'm good. And I haven't watched a few from his like, you know, good period, I guess you would say. But my boss
is 2 for 2 for me. This is the only second movie I've seen of his. So I have Deep Red. I haven't watched it yet.
I love Deep Red. For me, it's Suspiria, Deep Red, Tenebrae. I've also seen Inferno, Opera. I actually enjoy those ones. The Cat of Nine Tails, I don't like. Bird with the Crystal Plumage is good. Stendhal Syndrome is terrible. Like I watched like there's like several of his later ones that I watched. Anyone that has his daughter in it is just like god awful. At least from the ones that I've watched. And then she's like naked a lot, so that's like weirdly uncomfortable. So yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like it's funny because like I feel like he had the same like sort of like really productive period where he was making a lot of really good movies in a row, kind of like Carpenter. But then like Carpenter retired and Dario Argento was like, nah, I'm still going.
Carpenter, yeah, he kind of drops off around
Mid-90s.
Memoirs of Invisible Man or something like that, and then goes into.
Yeah, I mean, I actually like the movie Vampires, which I think came out afterwards, but Vampires is the last one that I actually enjoyed from him.
Yeah, it sounds like there was a drop off for Argento, and I believe he still had a movie come out recently.
Yeah, he has one coming to Shudder soon, which I'll probably watch, but like I don't have high expectations for it. Like Opera, I think, is the latest movie that I've seen from him that I enjoyed. But he has a lot of like really good hits. This one's interesting too because like he, it's essentially like him reacting to people like brought up sexism as like a thing in his movies because like it's primarily female victims. And he like basically responded to that like young woman in danger has been a trope since the beginning of storytelling. I didn't invent it. I'm just using it, essentially.
In like everything.
Yeah, like everything. And, to some extent that is true. I still enjoy his movies. So
you think it's sort of meta with this author in the movie with has this famous author has a book and it's inspiring a killer.
Yeah. But then the ending kind of changes everything because like I guess we should say spoilers.
Yeah, we can. I would kind of like people to watch if they're gonna watch it.
Then
like,
we'll
go in blind because I think the ending is, like, it's definitely something that you want to experience.
The ending changes the context in such a way, and I'm not entirely sure what he's going for with it. It is a shock. Like, I mean, like when you don't think that they could have. Being that the main character is somewhat based on Dario Argento himself, it is like an interesting way that he takes that character, and you're just sort of like, huh, okay, like it muddies the waters of the one-to-one with Argento enough where what's his name? Peter O'Neill or something?
Yeah, Peter Neal.
He becomes his own like character. He's very distinct from Argento, but for the majority of the movie, you think he's kind of like an Argento avatar, and very similar to like Argento's other protagonists. I think you should see Deep Red because like Tenebrae is in some ways also a response to Deep Red. I was reading in the article too, in the essays too, where they were talking about it. They were like, Deep Red was in some ways so good that people had kind of stopped approaching the giallo, or like they had like gone in different directions with it. They weren't doing the traditional giallo anymore because it was like the final word in giallo.
Wow.
At least as it existed at that point. And so when he returned with Tenebrae, it was kind of he just like did a complete new reinvention. But like Deep Red is like very it's like almost an archetype giallo. It's sort of a quasi remake of his first film, The Bird with the Crystal Plumage. There's a guy, he's in Rome, he witnesses a murder through a window, manages to be the first on the scene when the body is discovered, and sees a clue to the murderer's identity that he doesn't remember until the end of the film. Obviously, there's more to both films, but that's the setup of both of the films. The main character is kind of your like typical stoic leading man sort of role where like he doesn't really have a ton of personality. He's just kind of here to solve the mystery. And then meanwhile, people are getting brutally murdered along the way. Even The Bird with the Crystal Plumage and Deep Red even have the same fake out and then plot twist reveal ending. So it's
Okay.
really interesting. I got to see those back to back, and I was like, "This is the same freaking movie!" Like they just remade it.
You saw them back to back.
Yeah, Edgar Wright was actually in attendance. We went and got hot dogs in the intermission between the two movies, and then just had like hot dog crap on our faces, and then like Edgar Wright walks by, and I'm just like, oh damn.
That's so cool. That's so
So
cool.
so he didn't stay for the bird with the crystal plumage, but he came for Deep Red.
That's awesome. The camera work in here really is what the style is really what gets me going about this film. It's not necessarily the mystery's there, and then there's a nice twist at the end and all that, but it's the way that it's like it's set up and the execution of the scenes. Like there's this one scene where the main theme really hits, and it's being played in the house, and then the camera creeps up the house. This is like my favorite sequence of the film. It's like the camera creeps up, and then you see this Italian woman, and she's playing a record, and then we follow around, and I'm not sure exactly what happens, but it's like there's some sort of you're focusing on something outside the glass, and then a hand comes in and grabs the woman, and then the music really kicks in there too. It's like or something like that. I don't know. It goes crazy, and it's like there's another like the murderer kills these two women in the house, and it's such like a shocking but really like exciting, creative way that it's filmed. And the music really adds to the scene. I don't know. It's just a really. I was like, man, this is really epic.
I love that scene too, because like it turns out that the goblin score that is playing is what she's playing on the record.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
I love that bit where it's like, because you think it's just because like they blast music when there's going to be a murder scene, and then it's like it's diegetic sound. Yeah, it's not non-diegetic. Like the characters are listening to it. In fact, her friend are they lovers? I think they might be lovers. She's like yelling at her. Yeah, she's like yelling to her from the other room, like, turn down the music. Mm-hmm. Turn down the music. It's too loud.
Because it is loud. It hits you really hard with the audio. Especially on this new restoration. It's just like beautiful picture, beautiful sound, and it's I don't know. It's just really cinematic, man. I was just like, man, this is so cool.
Yeah, we were watching it the other day, and Vinny was like, I know it's like brutal, like these violent things that are happening, but there's like an artistry to it. Like it's so beautiful to watch. And I'm like, yeah, I think that's true. Like the murders are really beautiful in a weird way. And like all the walls are like white for the most part. And so like then like the blood just sprays all over it. It's really great. Like
then you get the color of the giallo, the whole stylized.
Yeah, exactly. And giallo done in red, red and white only.
Yeah. And and I don't know if Wes Craven, took from this for Scream at all, but I couldn't help but think about Scream with the straight edge razor with close up with that, at times with like the knife and Scream.
Yeah,
the angle of just like the one shot of the hand and the knife going in the air type thing.
There was a lot of back and forth, so I could definitely see that. For example, like what is usually considered the first major slasher movie in the U.S. Because like Psycho and Peeping Tom came before, but they didn't spawn a bunch of movies. So like Black Christmas though did. Like Halloween is considered a direct descendant of Black Christmas. You watch Black Christmas, a lot of that looks like giallo murders. Like with some of the objects they use and how they shoot it, it looks a lot like giallo. So like they were definitely influenced by that. Bay of Blood by Mario Bava clearly inspired Friday the 13th. Like they don't have a Jason character, but neither did the first Friday the 13th movie.
Yeah.
I guess Jason was in it, but not in the form that we know him.
And, and by the way, Scream was the first movie that really connected with me as a horror film.
Mhm.
And I had to thank you for that.
I love Scream.
Because I know you tried with other movies like Texas Chainsaw Massacre and Trick or Treat got me too. I mean, I enjoyed that one, but I don't know. I can't remember which one came first, but I know Scream had like this huge impact on me. I think we watched like all 4 in one weekend.
Yeah.
And I wrote this like stupid slasher because of it too, and had like this Dreamcast and all that. So it kind of just turned me on the horror. And then ever since then, I've gotten deeper into horror, and then just it's become now I'm just like a crazy person.
Yeah, I mean, Scream's a good intro to the genre. I feel like I actually have a whole essay on Scream, so
wow,
maybe we should do that next. I wrote it before you were doing this. Like, I just decided to write it.
That's awesome. Yeah. This is a restoration from the original camera negative, so it's going to be the best of the best. I mean, again, it looks like we're watching a film print.
The essays are really interesting for the dissection of
okay.
Like especially the dissection of like Dario Argento's like being accused of sexism and then like his response to it within the movie. That's kind of what they focus on, I think, and they don't have any definitive answers, like because like I don't know that there's really a definitive answer to be had, but it's really interesting. It's a really interesting read. I'm glad you have the essays. I didn't think they came with the Synapse one, but I do love that it's like this is basically the same collection except for the Blu-ray is Region B on this one.
For more Return of the Disc, visit returnofthedisc.com. Check out the audio version of today's show, available on all major podcast platforms. And be sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel.